What's up, everyone? This is Rattlehead, one of the accessibility consultants for Mortal Kombat 1, along with Brandon Cole. So, I wanted to do something for you guys who may be struggling a little bit with Invasions mode. Now, Brandon has already made a general tutorial of how to go about it, how to play it, how to pay attention to the sound cues and things like that. So, I will be linking his video on the description as well. So, be sure to check that out. And then, if you want, you can come back here and do a follow up. But what I wanted to do today is more like an updated version where we can go over the things that have been fixed as far as accessibility, as well as just kind of learning what to pay attention to when you are playing this mode. There have been some changes and some fixes that made it easier now. Been hearing some players that have been successful in completing all of the season and going back and playing other things that they might have missed along the way. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about several things such as audio cues, the screen reader, what it's telling you what to read, and how to listen to the different additional audio cues that are available in the game, and also how to level up your character with different talismans or consumables that you can use throughout your journey. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's begin by going over the different sections. We'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so now let's take a listen to the four main sounds that are designated for different categories in Invasions mode that allows you to navigate based on the four directions where you can move around in this game. So these four assignments, these sound assignments, are categorized in the following way. It's you have objective, available, locked, and no path. So in the menu where I'm sitting at right now, it actually has it that way. So if I move left and right, it's going to play those sounds in that particular order. It's going to be the objective, the available, locked, and no path. Keep in mind, though, of course, once you play the game, that these sounds will be randomized. So the objective sound may play the second time or the fourth time, and the lock sound may be played the first time or the third time, right? So all of these sounds will be randomized as you approach each node within the game when you move, in all the different directions. So another a thing to keep in mind though is that when you approach a node or a section, the sounds will always play in a particular order. It's always going to be again up, right, down, and left. Every single time you approach a new node, it's always going to play up, right, down, or left. So any of these four sounds may appear randomly depending on what the game lets you know. The game is just telling you, oh, maybe go to the left because there's an objective on the left side. Or maybe go to the right because there's an objective on the right side. So in saying that, you might hear the sounds play. Let's focus on the objective sound. Maybe that sound will play the second time out of all of the four sounds. It may play the third time, or it may play the first time. So you need to know which direction that corresponds to. So once again, before we listen to these sounds, they correspond to objective, available, locked, no path. So with that said, let's take a listen to the objective sound. Okay, so the first sound we're going to take a listen to is the objective sound. And it sounds like this. Let's hear that one more time. That's the objective sound. So whenever you hear that, again, you might hear only once or twice, three times, or four times, depending on which direction. Then, that lets you know that, yes, you can go in there and complete the objective, where it's defeat the opponent, and there'll be different modifiers and things like that. So that is the objective sound. Okay, so the second sound we're going to take a listen to now is the available sound. Now, this sound lets you know that that area is available, right? It's what the name implies it. That you can go in there and do the objective again, but pretty much it's letting you know that you already completed that area, but you can still go there if you want to. So the game is not going to stop you if you want to go there and repeat the fight, or whatever you got to do in that area. So and it sounds like this. Let's listen to that one more time. So whenever you hear that sound, it's letting you know that, hey, this area, you already completed it, but it's still available, so you can go in there and do it again if you want to, right? So that is the sound that you'll hear whenever a path area or a node is available to complete again. All right, so the third sound we're gonna listen to now is the one that lets you know that the node or the section that you must go to is locked and you need to do something else before you go to that direction. So let's say you hear those four sounds and you maybe, when they all play, the second sound you hear is the sound that indicates it's locked. Then basically you know that you can't go there yet until you go somewhere else. And the lock sound sounds like this. Let's hear that one more time. So it sounds like a little whistle. So that lets you know that that area is locked. Therefore, you need to go in a different direction. So listen to all of the full sounds when you play, and that way you're able to tell that, okay, that maybe going to the left, I can't go there yet because it's locked, but maybe I can go up because there is an objective to complete in there. So let me do that, and then once you do that, you can go whatever other direction that it points you. So that is the lock sound. So the fourth sound in our list is the one that indicates that there is no path in that direction. So if you hear the four sounds and one of them or maybe two of them give you this sound that we're gonna listen to, then that is an area that has no path. And if you do push the your directional pad in that direction, sometimes it even makes an extra a sound that we'll hear in game that lets you know that, yeah, you can't go there. There's no path available. So that sound is this. Let's hear that one more time. It's a very subtle click, right? And so that when you hear that amongst all the different sounds that play every time, then you know that you can't go in that area at all anymore because there's no path there. Or maybe you need to complete again an objective to maybe finally open that path as well. So there's differences between the locked and there's no path, because there's no when there's no path you can't go there. But if the sound indicates that it's locked, you can still go there, but you can't open it. You can't go and you can't click confirm to go into the objective. But if it's like no path in this case, then you can't even move in that direction at all. So those are the four sounds that are available for navigation assist in the invasions mode. So there are actually three additional sounds that are not under the accessibility extra audio feedback, but they're actually pretty useful. This is one of those cases where the sound team at NetherRealm Studios adds sounds that may not even be categorized as accessible, but you can use them as such. So, like for example, when there is a new objective and you go there, and when you arrive into that node, there's this very subtle extra sound that you hear that it also indicates that yes, there is you can go in there and complete the fight or whatever the objective may be. So that actually sounds like this. Let's hear that one more time. So it's a very subtle, like like fire sound, like a little flame sound, and of course it was accompanied by the four sounds, navigational sounds, right after. But it's a very subtle, like fire sound that you hear, and so when that happens, then you can go in there and complete the fight, and so if you don't hear that, and because sometimes what can happen, you can actually get the objective sound and you go into that direction, but sometimes you'll hear a different tone. There's no flame sound. I like to call it, it sounds like a flame to me. So let's hear that one more time. That, see, it sounds like a flame. And so that lets you know that yes, you can go in there, and it's a new objective, it's a new node, so you go in there and complete it. But sometimes you approach a node and doesn't have that sound, that means you need to go to a different direction. So that is another important sound to keep in mind as you're playing the game. And again, you will see it in a real life example. I'll definitely point those out as we play. Okay, so the next extra sound cue in our list that we have here, it has to do whenever you hear this next sound, it lets you know that you're approaching the shop. or collector, which is the it used to be a fighting game, playable character in Mortal Kombat 11. But you approach the shop, you'll hear this sound, and it's very subtle once again. And I actually have the ambience in the background on purpose because in invasions mode you do need the environment to help you out as you're navigating the environment. So that's why I have it on. So let's hear this sound, and you should hear a coin like money sounds in the background, very subtle. Let's hear that one more time. So you heard a cue, one of the cues for navigation, but amongst those sounds, there was like a very subtle coin money sound. So when you hear that, that lets you know that is the shop. And let me stop right there and point out real quick that this is one of the areas where the screen reader, it's still not being read yet, whatever pops up on the screen. And so of course, you know, they're most likely are working on that, hopefully in the future, for it to be added. So that right there is the shop, and that's when you hear you once you click on it, you actually hear collector like growl a little bit and let you know that and the music changes as well if you do have the music on, to let you know that you can go there and shop and things like that. Which again, it's not accessible right now, but it'll be updated. So that is again the sound for the when you get into the shop. All right, we reached the final major sound that we needed to be aware of when you come across this sound as you're navigating the board, the environment, and when you hear this sound, it's when you approach the forge, which it's Bob, that new Shao Kahn character with arms like Goro, and he'll also grunt once you click on him, and the music changes, and you can browse and and everything. Which again, I would like to point out that that's yet another area where the screen reader doesn't read. But anyway, the sound is this one. One more time. So there's like a little slight click that you hear in there, and that lets you know that is Bob. Let's hear it one more time. Right there. So when you hear that sound, it's a forge. You can go there again. Can browse, but that's where you need to upgrade your consumables or your talismans if you need to recharge them and things like that. So that's what the forge is for. So there it is. Those are the all of the different sounds. So in total, we actually have 7 sounds. You have the 4 navigational sounds that are under the extra audio feedback, but then you also have these extra sounds that you need to be aware of as you're browsing the game. So there it is. So that is it. Let's now take a look at all of these sounds and let's actually implement them in real gameplay. So we're gonna move on and let's talk about like the gameplay, and we're gonna show some examples as well as talk about what to keep in mind as you're playing the game. Okay, so here we are hanging out in the living forest, and before we actually start moving around this environment, there are a few things that I want to share with you to keep in mind as you are moving around. The first thing, which is very important, is whenever you reach an area, and let's say you heard the sounds, but you're like, well, wait a minute, I need to hear them again. What you want to do is you press your right thumbstick down or your R3, and you should be hearing the sounds. So let's do that right now. So in our sample video of the sounds that we were going by, of course everything was playing, like each sound was playing 4 times. But in here, if you notice, we got 3 sounds of the objective, but the last one was an area that is available that we can go to if you want. So let's dictate how we will read this actually. So the way we interpret that is, the first tone is up, the second tone is right, the third tone is down, and the final tone is left. So if we go by that order, we pretty much heard up is an objective, right is an objective, down is an objective, and left is an available sound. Now, at the time of recording this video, I already completed a lot of these areas. So so some of these sounds may be misleading, but this is where I'm gonna share you guys some tips. So that is how to repeat the sounds as you move around the environment. You press R3 to hear the sounds. The next thing I want to show you guys is basically when you move around the environment, there's actually, they made it now where the characters move pretty fast around the stage actually. If you press either direction, the character by itself will walk in that corresponding direction, and it'll get there, and and just wait for you to press the buttons to confirm or whatever. So when at first you will move really slow, right? And you can actually change that now. You can change the speed of how fast you move around the environment. In that case, you will press the L3 or the left joystick, the left thumbstick. You will press that one, so you'll hear there's a sound to it as well that lets you know that you pressed the button. So I'm gonna press it now, and you hear that sound, right? That means I pressed the L3, and so I'm gonna move around the stage right now to the left just for the sake of it, and they're gonna walk slow now.
Not a tower. Opponent level 8.
Also, quick tip: if you want to stop the screen reader, just press the start button and then circle to stop the screen reader from speaking. So you notice how I walked really slow, right? But let's say I want to move around faster around the environment. So now I'm gonna go to the right. Again, I'm just moving around, no purpose right now. I'm gonna press the L3 again, and we heard that sound. And now I'm gonna move to the right and watch what happens.
Survive. Opponent level.
My character moved around the screen like significantly fast. So that's another way to another thing to keep in mind as you're moving around the environment. Okay, so the next thing that you want to keep in mind is when you get into a section or a node, you can do a few things here. First, you can press your Y or your triangle to bring up your loadout, where you can actually equip you can choose your fighter, you can look at your stats, you can do several things in here. So with the recent patch update, we now have access to this area with the screen reader. So let's do that right now.
Loadout. Fighter. Sub-Zero. Earth 3 Link A bar ninja. Directional pad. Navigate. Cross button change.
So here I
fighter.
can, if I click here, I'm gonna go into the character select screen, which of course this part actually red.
Player 1. Red tile. Player 1. Scorpion.
Right, this section red like before the patch even came out, and everything, but before it didn't. But now on the main section of this loadout section, you can now go to your stats.
Health 54, attack 59, special 59, defense 59, agility 54, directional pad, navigate.
So you hear my stats about my health, my attacks, my defense, my everything, right? So here is, you can also look at your cameo stats.
Directional pad, navigate. Cross button change cameo. Circle button back. R1 button change tab.
Right? So it's letting us know about our stats with our cameo.
Talisman.
Here you can equip your talismans that you use.
Navigate.
You can go to different ones too. Here you click on it, right, and you can browse.
Fedora talisman. Fire armor talisman. Level 17. Uncommon. Power up. Fire. Charges 2 of 2.
Right there, right? So you can view those. You can view your relics as well.
Equipped. Direction. Select relic. Not junk. Common. Requirements. Invasions level 1. Brimstone of Fierceness. Uncommon. Requirements. 10 special. Enchantments. Fire damage.
So you can equip this again, to enhance your character, to level up your character, whether it's power or anything that you can do, right?
Fighter.
And your fighter, of course. You press here, and then to pick your cameo though, you go down twice.
Player 1, Johnny.
Let's see. So if you're here in the loadout,
Sub-Zero, Earth 3, stats, fighter, Sub-Zero, choose, player 1.
Okay, so yeah, you pick your fighter. The loadout again.
Sub-Zero, Earth, cameo, Kung Lao.
Here is
Magic.
where you can pick your cameo.
Directional pad.
That's
Navigate.
what I was trying to say.
Cross button change
This
cameo.
is where you can actually
Circle
change your
button.
cameo.
Choose cameo. Player 1.
Of course, I'm using Kuna right
Power
now,
up.
right? So that's it.
Consumables. Shadow
If you
mask.
press square,
Dark armor for the next
you bring
encounter.
your consumables,
Cross button
which
activate
basically these
triangle.
work within
Bloodline.
whatever fight.
Your
So
Breaker's
let's
costume.
say
Shadow mask.
you need,
Grants dark armor
let's say
for
you need more
Bloodline.
health
Your
or
Breaker's
more
costume.
more offense.
Yellow herbs. Permanently grants 5 agility stat points. Cross button use triangle button.
You can
discard
equip
circle
these things,
button
and
close.
it'll some of them will stay
Bloodline.
permanently, others will
Your
be
Breaker's
temporary. I think.
Shadow mask. Arctic booster. Permanently grants 15% increased ice resistance. Cross
So
button
this, I
use
would equip this if
triangle
I'm going
button,
against,
discard
say,
circle
Sub-Zero,
button
right?
close.
If it's the enemy, so you kind of go based on what the character requires at the time. So you press square and you go here, you go through the different ones that you can do that, right? So that's it. So those are the things to keep in mind when you are moving, when you arrive at each section. So again, you press square to bring up your consumables, you press triangle to bring out your loadout screen, and you press X to go into the objective. So, and then of course, when you arrive at a place, at a node, you press your R3 or your right thumbstick to listen to the sounds, right? And you press, if you want to walk slowly around the environment, which I don't know why you would do that, but you press L3 and your character will move a little slower across the environment. But if you press it again, it'll move faster. So there we go. All right, so here we are in the Fire Temple, where I actually just completed the season at the time of this recording, and it was basically defeating Scorpion as the final boss, and you get a costume and everything. So, and it pretty much ends the entire season. But of course, there's always things to do, like extra things that you might have missed along the way and things like that. So we're gonna take a look at some of the sections, and also we're gonna look into how would you solve, let's say if you get lost, how would you go about figuring it out where to go next, or and things like that. So it's all about exploring as well. So, but I do want to point out a few things here that are gonna be very important as you play this mode, right? So the first and the most important thing for especially blind players is, let's say we came across a node, but maybe we got interrupted or we heard the screen reader on top of the sound. So I don't know what the sounds are and I want to hear them again. So what you do to play those 4 sounds, to play the navigation sounds, you will press down on your right thumbstick or your R3 and we will get the sound. So let's find out what we got right now. Okay. So during our audio samples, as we were going through the different sounds, every sound that we played was playing 4 times, right? But now we're hearing everything's getting mixed up, right? So what we heard here is, we heard if you go up, there's no path. If I go to the right, there's an objective. Or I can go down and that might be an objective. But we're gonna find out if this is true or not. And left is also no path, right? So no path. We heard objective on the right, objective down, and left we heard no path. So keep in mind, these sounds play in order. Every single time they're going to play in order. That's up, right, down, left. On up, we heard the no path. Right, we heard objective. Down, we heard objective. Left, we heard no path again, right? So, how do we know if these objectives are, if I go down, if there's an objective? Maybe there isn't, because remember, I already completed some of the sections here, so we'll find out. Let's go. So I'm gonna go first down.
Entrance. Opponent level.
There's
22.
no. I heard a sound, but there was like more like a
Opponent
boom sound a little bit if you're wearing
Banshee.
headphones.
Cross button enter.
And if you didn't hear that, there was no flame. We're actually standing next to like sounds like a waterfall. But there was no sound. So let's say if we always want to have a beginning point, right? So I'm gonna go up again where we were before,
Lock gate. Nether stone required.
which is a gate. Also,
Cross button open.
fun tip that
Triangle button
you can do is you can
menu.
press pause and circle, and it stops the screen reader from reading. So if you don't want to keep listening, you already know where you are. So we're back at this. Looks like we're at a gate, right? And so, but we went. Now let's hear the sounds again. So I went down, but there was no objective, right? Even though the sound cues are telling me yes, there is an objective, but there wasn't. So what about if I go to the right?
No silence. Opponent level.
We heard very distinctly. We heard the flame sound. It's again, that's what I'm calling it. It sounds like a little flame. And which means we do have an objective here. So which means if I press X, I'm gonna go into a fight and complete the fight, and then we're done with this section. So and let's see what sounds we have now. So also notice how the sounds change. It's telling me to go up, right, that has objectives, down has no path, and left has the objective. But we came from the left side, right? We came from the left side. So once we complete this objective here, these sounds will actually change. So I'm going to complete this fight, and it's gonna take us back to the same spot, and notice how the sounds change. So let's play them now, right? So when we come back, they might stay the same or they might change. We'll see. So I'm going into this objective, which is a fight, and I'm gonna come back. All right, so we're back, and we heard the sounds again play, and it looks like they didn't change actually. So we are still having up as an objective, right as an objective, and down as no path, and left as an objective. But again, if we go to the left from here, we're going back to the portal. Or gate, right? It's a gate. So let's try going up and see what happens.
The shadow. Opponent level.
There's no objective.
Opponent.
We did not hear the flame sound when we came back. But now I'm gonna go back to where I started. I'm going down again.
No silence. Opponent
we already
level
did this one.
20.
It's called no silence. So I'm gonna go to the right instead now.
Devil. Opponent level 20. Opponent fighter. Mistress of darkness.
Well, you look at that. We have an objective if we went to the right. So sometimes the main sounds, they probably indicate that if you there is an objective, but when you immediately go to that direction, there might not be one. But sometimes you maybe still need to go to that direction further down or further up to see what the deal is, because maybe the objective is there, but it's just that you need to keep going. So just keep those things in mind when you play, because that way it lets you know. That way if you do get lost, you have a way to find your way back, kind of thing, and figure out your path. So right now we are in a new mission and a new objective, right? And it even tells you who you're gonna be facing. A lot of them is just names, like they don't like Mistress of Darkness. Most likely that's probably Ashra, right? So you can kind of assume what character you're gonna fight and things like that. So that is basically what you do to navigate the environment. So again, I'm gonna go back to where I started, which was this one right here.
No silence.
No silence. We just finished this one, right?
20.
And it's telling me to go up to the right or to the left. But we already know that up doesn't have an objective. Or left is just a gate, and down there's no
Lock gate.
no path,
Stone
right?
required. Cross button open. Triangle button invasion. No silence. Opponent.
So there we go. Sometimes you may go in a different direction. Like if you right now, I went down just on purpose, just to try to see if I can get lost, and it took me back to the gate.
Lock gate.
Right, it took me back to the gate.
Stone.
But I know that if I go to the right, there's the no silence mission.
No silence.
And I can go to the right again.
Devil. Opponent
And there's
level
our new
20.
objective that we
Opponent
just came from
fighter.
again.
Mistress
So
of-
just explore. That's basically what you want to do, is just kind of explore the map until you hear the flame sound, and that will let you know, okay, there's a new objective. So one more time, I'm gonna go do this other fight, and we'll come back.
Devil. Opponent level 20. Opponent fighter.
Okay, so we're back, right? And we completed this fight and everything. So now let's listen to where we need to go again. So again, the sounds changed. We have objective going up and to the left. But again, we already know there we came, from the left there was nothing. That was the gate and the other mission that we already completed. So let's try to go up.
Slaughter. Opponent level.
There's nothing
20.
there, right?
Opponent fighter.
There's no objective there, right? So, and this is where you sort of start to explore and try different directions, and because maybe we need to go further up. So the sounds changed again, right? Right there you have objective, available path on the right, and if you go down it says objective again, and left is subjective. But once again, you always want to keep track where you came from, right? So if you already came from below, there's no point in going back down again, and unless you just want to explore to see if maybe there's a chance, right? So let's keep going up.
Fatal thoughts. Opponent
There's
level.
nothing there
20.
still. We didn't have the
Opponent.
flame sound. Let's go up one more time.
Frisbees. Opponent level 20.
What do you know?
Opponent fighter. Paladin of
We
Chaos.
found another
Chaos Blade.
mission.
Op-
We found another mission where or another objective, right? Somewhere where you can go in here and finish the fight and complete it, right? So we can go in here, complete it, and same thing. So I'm gonna do one more and we'll come back.
Frisbees. Opponent level.
All right,
20.
so we are back, and we just finished another objective that we came across after exploring, going to different directions and everything. So, like I said, sometimes the sounds may not actually tell you, just giving you a general idea of where to go. So if it's no path, then there's no need to go there. If it's locked, there's no need to go there. If it's available, of course, there's no need to go there. So the objective sometimes, it might not necessarily be the next node coming up, or it could be maybe the third or the fourth one if you keep going in that direction, right? And sometimes even that can change depending when you go. If you go to the third one, you might not even hear it anymore. So which means maybe just try another direction. So just explore. So hopefully that gives you a much better idea of how to explore a little more when you know. Hopefully this will get you ready for the next season and you're able to participate more on an invasions mode. Another quick thing I want to point out is survive. So it's a very specific mission that you have to complete whenever you hear survive. Basically what it is, it's a bunch of projectiles being thrown at you, towards you essentially. And so for us blind players, if you have good enough health, like a lot of health, all you gotta do is just stay ducking the whole time. Like you don't need to move left, right, or avoid them, anything like that, because you get hit regardless. But if you have good health, it's still going to you're gonna survive it no matter what, because they don't take that much damage. But if you don't have enough like defense, or where you take less damage, then you could probably die from it. But for the most part, a lot of us blind players basically just duck, and that's it. And you basically complete that section. That's all, and that's all. So for just an example, I'm actually in a survive mode, and I'm gonna go into it, and I'm going to do it right now in real time so you can see what's happening.
Survive.
So it's survive, right? I'm just holding down. I'm getting, I got hit by a projectile, whatever that is. It could be anything. I got hit again. I got hit again. I don't know what these are in particular, but there you go. Then you let go block, and you survive.
Sub-Zero wins.
There we go.
Survive. Opponent level 32. Opponent fighter.
So hopefully
Survive.
that gives you just another tip of with invasions as you're moving along the game. All right, so there you go, y'all. This has been a tutorial, an updated tutorial for invasions mode for Mortal Kombat 1 for blind and low vision players. Hopefully this gives you a better sense of how to go about the game, how to explore, and everything. So as far as the fighting is concerned, I want to just quickly share that definitely find characters that you want to learn. Go into practice mode, use the tutorial mode that the game offers to learn the basics of the game if you're new to fighting games, so that you have a better chance against these random opponents that you have to face throughout your the different seasons that are coming out. So hopefully this will give you a better way to explore. This mainly focused on just exploring, navigating, how to problem solve if you do get lost, and things like that. So it wasn't, the intention was to hopefully help out somebody out there who may be struggling with the invasions mode. So if you do find it helpful, please share, spread the word. But again, I will be linking Brandon's tutorial on the description, so be sure to take a look at that as well. But again, I hope that this will help you out in any way possible. And just some additional notes I would like to mention again is that yes, the developers are aware of that there are sections that are still not being read by the screen reader, such as the shop and the forge. The shop being where you meet collector and you basically shop for additional items or things that can help you. And the forge is basically where you upgrade those items, whether it's your consumables or your talismans and things like that. So those areas are not being read by the screen reader at the time of this video right now. So stay tuned. If there's any updates that happen with accessibility, I'll of course let you know. I'll be more than happy to share that information with you. So, but if you do come across anything that you felt I didn't mention, please drop it in the comments below. Let me know what it is, and I'll definitely address it as well. Another thing I definitely want to mention is you will come across test your might sequences. There is actually some sounds that I'll probably make a video on its own. It requires its own video because it's very subtle, so that I can share when it's time to pull the trigger on, when you do the test your might and the character has to break something. But anyway, with that said, I hope you guys find this tutorial helpful. If you do, again, hit the like button and pass it along. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Like and subscribe, and hopefully this will get you ready for the next season as if you're a blind or visually impaired player. With that said, thank you so much for watching. This has been Rattlehead. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time in the next video.